With a possible new installment on the horizon codenamed OVER, and the end of Ghost Recon Breakpoint back in 2022, this year could be a make or break year for the Ghost Recon franchise. Ubisoft had ended Breakpoint on a high note, and hopefully they can bring that kind of quality and fulfillment of the community's needs into the next game, which could quite possibly be announced in 2023 if the leaks are true and development is going well for the Ubisoft studios involved. So with that said, let's talk about Ghost Recon in 2023 and what we should expect to see this year. It's definitely safe to say that Ghost Recon Breakpoint didn't have the best of runnings, with ups and downs throughout the whole of the game's life and Ubisoft striving to provide content that nobody wanted. It was only until higher management loosened off Breakpoint that the game started to become more like a Ghost Recon title, with developers having creative freedom over what they produced instead of striving for content that was mediocre and trying to attract too large of a player base with basic arcade mechanics that Ghost Recon shouldn't be known for. Ubisoft really pushed to fix Breakpoint and release an update that was exactly what the community wanted, and hopefully that trend can continue into the next game. With Ghost Recon Frontline also out of the window, this is the first moment in a long time that the future of Ghost Recon has been uncertain. I made a video 2 weeks ago showing possible proof that Nomad could be in the next game that would set us in a position of possibly receiving a Wildlands 2, and of course, as mentioned in the intro, there was a leak a while ago by Nvidia mentioning a game codenamed OVER. This was mentioned by Kotaku and started to gain traction a lot in 2022 as a form of leak for the future of the Ghost Recon franchise. This of course wasn't the first time Project OVER had been leaked though, as a few months before that, a user on Reddit announced the game under the name of Ghost Recon OVER, and now through further review of that Reddit post, it has been taken down by Reddit's legal operations team as it has been claimed as copyright by a third party, which is definitely Ubisoft, as the Ghost Recon Reddit team has in fact locked the thread so no one can post in it. With these two leaks, I think we can say that a new Ghost Recon title is 100% in the works, and we are waiting on Ubisoft to pull their finger out and announce it. So I think the real question there is, when should we expect to see it? So I put up a poll on my Twitter before the new year where 60 people voted on whether they thought a new Ghost Recon will arrive in 2023. And I was surprised with the poll's outcome, though I am quite optimistic in thinking that a game will at least be announced within 2023, and here is why. Ghost Recon Wildlands released in 2017, and with Ubisoft's style of development, they started creating Breakpoint almost urgently after its release. So while we are enjoying the amazing world of Wildlands, the Ubisoft devs were hard at work in the background until 2019, where Ubisoft announced at E3 that a new game was coming under the name of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. That's a 2-year gap between the two games, and I'd say that's quite a small window. I'm glad that Ubisoft CEO himself announced that they blew it with Breakpoint because of the rushed attempt to get the game out, and I think this is the reason why we didn't see a new mainstream Ghost Recon game in 2021 or 2022. But on that note, Frontline was announced in 2021 and was expected to be released later that year or within 2022. And that wasn't planned to be a mainstream title and wasn't planned to be set within the Ghost Recon timeline. When talking to a community manager, they said that the game started production 3 years before 2021, which was just before Breakpoint was officially announced, using the same game engine as Breakpoint, and that is why it looks so similar within the trailer. And that leads us to here in 2023, 4 years after Breakpoint's release, and with rumours that they started making the next title in 2020, with a leak getting posted in 2021, Project OVER is on the horizon, with possible 3 years worth of development, and that in my opinion, and 40% of the 60 voters agree with me here in saying that at very least, the next game will be announced this year. So yeah, I am optimistic, and I quite honestly could be wrong for being this optimistic, but I think we need to be if there is already proof there that a new Ghost Recon title is being made. I'm hoping for an action-packed, military-focused, hugely tactical Ghost Recon game, not some lame-ass arcade shooter that attends to the wider audience, but doesn't focus on what Ghost Recon truly is. Let's be honest, we'll never see a Ghost Recon title like Future Soldier and what came before that, with a linear story that kept you gripped. By all means, I'd love to see a storyline like Call of Duty 2019 and 2022, but a Ghost Recon version of it. However, that unfortunately isn't what Ubisoft does anymore, and despite that being a fundamental part of Ubisoft's legacy titles, instead we should expect an open world, but I hope that open world provides an experience with an intriguing story that maybe goes down the route of Wildlands and, to be fair, Breakpoint's Conquest mode style. And I think a massive part of Wildlands was that story and how that ties in with the environment that you explore. And Wildlands' environment felt really alive compared to Breakpoint's, so I think they should really focus on that within the next game. We want the next game to be interesting and not have a mediocre story that could quite honestly be a DLC for Wildlands, in which Breakpoint partly was due to Operation Oracle, where we saw John Bernthal come in as Cold A Walker. For Ghost Recon Breakpoint, there isn't a way of doing this, and therefore I expect them to be building off Wildlands or building off Future Soldier within the next title. Alternatively, they could go down a whole other route and create a new storyline, but I think it would be unwise to do this, as a lot of Ghost Recon's audience currently have played Wildlands, and a lot of the announcements which were made last year from the Ghost Recon Twitter possibly hinting towards a Wildlands sequel. Moving on to another side of Ghost Recon, I'd hope that the PvP is equally as great. With Breakpoint's PvP being a disappointment, I'd hope they would push to make one that is worth playing. I mentioned Frontline earlier, made by Ubisoft Bucharest. I really hope that studio has been pushed over to the next Ghost Recon title to create an amazing PvP. And I know people may say, why would you want a studio working on Frontline on the next title? But once again, it stems from Ubisoft's management making poor decisions attending to a larger audience. Ubisoft Bucharest are a great studio, as they worked on Wildlands PvP, and from my 20 plus hours of hands-on experience with Frontline, the quality is there. They just need a platform to put that creativity on and strive towards making Ghost Recon PvP instead of an arcade shooter that the Ubisoft executives want because it makes them the most money. The Wildlands formula was great. I hope that they'll just recreate that and mix it with Ghost Recon Future Soldier's PvP and maybe have some of Breakpoint's mechanics to provide an enjoyable PvP that will quite honestly be what makes the next Ghost Recon playable for a long time instead of rehashing bases over and over like we currently are in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. 2023 could be a make or break year for Ghost Recon, and I cannot wait to see what's next. Thank you for watching everyone, I hope you have enjoyed. Tell me down below what your thoughts are and whether you're expecting a new title this year for the Ghost Recon franchise. Or are you expecting an announcement this year and the game's released within 2024 once Ubisoft have had another year to build on what they currently have? In addition to this, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on what you would like to see within this next Ghost Recon, and whether that is a Wildlands 2 or maybe something completely different, but hopefully not as different as Breakpoint when comparing it to Wildlands. I would also like to recommend watching my video on possible proof of Nomad in the next title, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that within the comment section of that video, as Nomad being within that next title could mean a lot for the next game, and I do explain that within the video. But once again, thanks for watching, subscribe if you have enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.